Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends, The Last Stand, Spider-Man. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who, and remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we continue looking at the Marvel Legends Spider-Man wave. As in front of me today we have The Last Stand, Spider-Man, which is an alternative costume design for Spider-Man, as it's based on a possible future reality where if Peter Parker went a little bit more anti-hero. But I will explain more as we go through. But I do like the costume design we get for a future-based Peter here, and it is on the modern style card back as well, as I think this debuted in like the early 2000s. Either way, it looks really nice. He only comes with one set of hands. On the back of the box, you get a better image of the figure, as well as a write-up that reads, "Caught outside of time, Peter Parker sees a potential future in which the NYPD confronts him for his past crimes and he makes his last stand." So, without further ado, let's get it open. Here we have The Last Stand Spider-Man out of the packaging with that set of interchangeable fisted hands. So pretty lackluster with accessories. He doesn't even come with any swipping hands. And this is still Spider-Man. It is just Spider-Man from an alternative future. It's still an accurate representation of this particular costume design though. And it is completely pinless as well, which is nice to see. It's just the biggest sort of point of controversy is the lack of ab articulation for a Spider-Man character. So I'm intrigued to see how much he does end up moving when we start to try out articulation. If we get the tape measure out, you can see he's just under 6.5 inches tall, and I'm sure people will be happy to add this amongst their forever growing Spider-Verse collection, because as I said, it's still a nice looking design for Spider-Man. But before we take a closer look, let's have a quick word from our friends at LegendsThe. Let me introduce you to LegendsThe.com, a place all Marvel Legends collectors are going to want to know about. If you are looking for an easy way to keep track of your collection, what figures you have, and create wish lists, then LegendsThe can do all of this and so much more. It's a comprehensive Marvel Legends database that once you have added your collection, gives you stats like how many figures you own, how many waves and builder figures you have completed, and how much your collection is worth right now. Organize your collection in teams, upload photos of each figure, look at price guides, and share your collection with friends by showcasing your own profile. Go and sign up and see for yourself. LegendsThe.com. If you collect Marvel Legends, you should absolutely check out LegendsThe. Links in the description. Now back to Last Stand Spider-Man here. The head sculpt in itself is very simple in design, but still cuts that Spider-Man silhouette with the white lenses and then the black outline. There are a couple of sculpted lines, but not really any texture at all. It is a very smooth mask he is wearing, but you can still see some sculpted creases to sort of show there is a face behind that mask, and the eyes are sculpted on there. There's a few lines as well, one in the middle that goes all the way around, and then you can see it there on the back as well. So a couple of sculpted lines, and the head is on a dumbbell joint, but you also get a point of articulation in the neck. So if you want him looking down, you can sort of articulate the head and neck together as one piece, as you can see, or you can just get him looking down like normal, swivel, etc. The collar is a sort of soft sculpted piece, which is new and attached to this jacket, which again, I think they've went for the aesthetic approach. They didn't want to break up the design, even though I do think there's some natural lines in here where they could have potentially still added an ab crunch, at least in my head. But there is a ball joint under here, which we'll show you in a second. But there are some sculpted sort of buttons, and then that Spider-Man logo in black is sculpted, same as the Spider-Man logo on the back in red is sculpted on there. It is a nice looking sort of leathery based jacket. It looks like a biker Spider-Man, to be honest. But yeah, so dumbbell, point of articulation in the neck, and then a ball joint at the torso. And if I show you, it looks like he can't hardly move at all, but there is more movement than you would expect. So you can see me here crunching him forward and back on the ball joint. So there's forward and back. Of course, he's got a bit of tilt as well with that. And of course he will swivel on that joint as well. So there's more articulation there than it first seems, but I still think the lack of crunch for the ab here will be a frustrating point for collectors. And there's definitely some pointed lines. You could have put a crunch there and it would have got some great range with that ball joint, but never mind. The arms go all the way up to 90, bicep swivel, decent double joint on the elbow. Again, completely pinless elbows as well. Moving down to the legs, you've got the thigh cut, double jointed, pinless knees as well, decent range there, no boot cut, but you do get these shoes with ankle pivot and rocker, some nice natural creases in the legs, sort of look like he's wearing jeans, etc. But he can't, his legs go forward a decent amount, but to be fair, he can't really do the splits, but still better than most Spider-Man, to be fair. And he's an older Spider-Man as well, so he's probably limited in his movement at this age too. He has a set of wall crawling hands straight out the packaging that do have an up and down hinge on straight out the box. Again, no whipping hands with this Spider-Man, but yeah, the design is very nice. They have clearly went for a more aesthetic approach and sacrificed some of the articulation, but the articulation is hidden and you can get more movement on this guy than you first think. And then his only accessories, if you want to count these as accessories, are a set of interchangeable fisted hands, which I say all the time should come with Marvel Legends as standard, but it's a nice looking design for Spider-Man and it's accurate to the source material. As I briefly mentioned, this Last Stand Spider-Man is a possible future version of Spider-Man. This alternative timeline shows what would happen if Peter broke his no killing rule, so he sort of has this new attitude, new costume, and he's much more of an anti-hero. It all started when Doctor Strange and Spider-Man sort of got caught up in a spell, and then the regular 616 Peter Parker started skipping through realities until he landed on this one and sort of seen how his future would be if he started breaking his own rules, so he would prevent that essentially. But now this character design now just exists in the ether and in the Spider-Verse. So here we have a regular Renew Your Vows 616 Peter, and then we have the Scarlet Spider-Man, which is in this very same Spider-Man wave. So all of these Spider-Man on the table right now are completely pinless, very pleasing to look at, and they have great range. I just think the lack of ab crunch on the Last Stand will bother people, but it still has movement at the waist. Here we have the 60th anniversary Spider-Man on that smaller book and Kane, and it's Kane being killed by Kraven, which makes the Spider-Man kill a Kraven in his universe that sets him down this Last Stand path. So yeah, him dying is what started it, sort of. Here we have a couple of my favourite alternative costume designs for Spider-Man. It is of course the Iron Spider and the Spider Armour Mark 1. Here we have an older Spider-Man book. It is the symbiote Spider-Man on the Pizza Spider-Man body, so it's a little bit skinnier. And then we have the brand new Venom from the recent 3-pack. Now these three are not from the same storyline at all, but you can't tell me that these three don't match up really, really nicely and look like a nice little trio for the shelf. Spider-Man's red jacket is a little bit brighter in tone compared to the red of Daredevil and Elektra, but I just think their costume design all sort of match, like they're from the same era. They're not, but they look good. For a little MCU comparison, here we have Toby and Andrew, and the reason I want to show you this is I've seen lots of concept design online where Tobey Maguire is actually wearing the Last Stand Spider-Man costume, so I wanted to try the unmasked Tobey Maguire head that we recently got on this new body. Unfortunately, the neck is too thick, so the head won't really sit flushly, and he's got a bit of a long neck syndrome, but if that head actually fit on the peg properly, that would have looked pretty good. Since we're swapping heads, let's bring in the regular comic Peter Parker head sculpt that we got with the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. And it does fit on the peg. I just think he suffers from the long neck syndrome again. But it works nice, to be fair. But yeah, you probably want to paint his hair grey, as when Peter is wearing this costume, he's a little bit older. He's more mature. So yeah, put some grey streaks in his hair and you might be able to get that to work. But it fits on the peg. Here we have the boyfriend and girlfriend back again. It is, of course, Hallows Eve and Ben Reilly's Chasm. For a regular female comparison, here we have Shriek, and then we have the new Jack-O-Lantern, who is in this same Spider-Man wave. Go and check out my review on the channel right now. Here we have the 20th anniversary Cap and the Mark 70 Iron Man. Let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. Here we have Frogman, Tigra, and Jocasta, who is reading out comments from the previous Marvel Legend review. Who have you picked today?
Sockman247 says, "This is a cool figure. Would love a Kane Parker on the Renew Your Vows body now to complete the Spider-Man. P.S. I bet your sweaty sarks smell great, Dan."
And last but not least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal, Fire, Hank. Not yet. Final thoughts on this Marvel Legends, The Last Stand Spider-Man. Now, he will forever be called the Last Stand Spider-Man because the regular 616 Peter Parker was travelling through time with Doctor Strange, happened to see the last moments this Peter Parker was battling the police and got killed. It was his last stand. There we have the Last Stand Spider-Man costume design, and you cannot deny this is an accurate representation of that costume design in plastic. But for an action figure, the lack of accessories and the lack of crunch on the waist will be a point of frustration amongst the community for sure. sure, but it's still a nice looking figure that will find its place amongst your shelf of Spider-Verse characters, I am sure. You let me know what you think in the comments below, as always, but if you like Marvel Legends, you're in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlist, but most importantly, please, 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 hit that subscribe button, hit that all button on the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much, much appreciated. Make sure you check out LegendsThe.com. All the links are in the description. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on Twitter at Dan Who Reviews, and I'm still on TikTok. I just don't use it, let's be honest. But you can find me there. And then as always, I will see you on the next one.